Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to take a nice reminiscing visit to a past video of mine, talking about a past controversy, that being the Escape from Tarkov situation, because it did have a bit of a revival with more news coming out about it that I can't really say is the best. And normally I don't like talking about like previous topics that are dead by now, because I have a bit of faith in the universe or the people behind it that the situation will get at least better from it. It's really bad to make an issue like that one, that people behind it, Battle State, could really have to be really dumb to mess it up even worse. Or even if they do the right thing after, I don't want to pat them on the back because the main issue was so preventable, it could have never happened in the first place. But basically, as I was looking up brain-rotting stuff online, I came across this one teeny tiny article by Kotaku. I was like, oh, might be interesting. I opened it up and I guess the situation didn't get better. And so if we think back a long time ago, about 3 weeks back, you get an idea of how bad it was back then, a bit of a flashback. But basically, if you bought the previous edition that was already quite expensive, then you're all the updates and DLC were promised unless you fork over more money. And also, if you're in that kind of situation, you're probably a dedicated fan that's been rewarded by being bled out like a pig. But fast forward to today and there's been a new change situation to remedy it. So how about we go back and look at the previous edition that started this whole Promised Neverland bullshit, the Edge of Darkness. My god, that sounds queer. Which even that was pretty expensive at $150, and you have to really love the game or support the project, to hand over that much money. Which, by the way, that game, Escape from Tarkov, they really had like some good dedicated fans that could have stuck around, for years. Like, I think it's been out for a decade maybe, and you still have like a large majority of people that played at the very beginning when it first came out that still stuck around today because, they actually support it and they respect the effort being put into the game and the way it's heading in the future, or at least they used to. Which is why like the Unheard edition was so funny when it first came out, because it wouldn't really affect that many people like the new players, but it like out of everyone else that it endly the most, it was those diehard players that stuck around for the longest. But even if you're a new fan back then and you really liked the game, you would have reason to buy the Edge of Darkness edition, for the new guns, the new buffs, and the best part, the promise of getting new DLC for free in the future. But then there was a bunch of backlash when all those updates and the long-awaited PvE mode was gated behind a completely different purchase, the $250 Unheard edition. I think it was called Unheard because of the huge price tag. And although I did call those dedicated fans a bit of nerds for spending that much money on a mere edition, I will personally be a bit diplomatic to admit that false advertising is still bullshit when it's very clear lying to your face and the solution to it is very clear. And so if you were the company behind it, Battle State, and you saw half of the community, shitting on it and tearing it apart, you would believe you have to fix it quickly. Not to mention, when you have a game that old as well, that's been only kept up by long-lasting players, the one thing that would be like a sledgehammer tearing down that pillar and making the game dead is by having an issue that you blindly refuse to address and fix. Because then all the players would be like, man, I just wasted all my time and money for a better part of 10 years that for a game I had faith in to just turn to shit. But instead, they didn't fix it, they still kept the Unheard edition up on the store page. So for any fans new or old that want to get into the PvE mode, they basically had to grit their teeth and pay the steep price. Which even now, that's insane to me. But after you step back from that and acknowledge the people that already paid for the previous edition, where they will force you, if they wanted to get the new edition, pay an extra $100 so it would equal to around $250 in order to get the updates that they were promised a longest time ago. But then there was an issue with that where there was like a very tiny no man's land gap where a few people made that choice. It was only a few days later that Battle State came out and said, okay, just give us an extra $50 and we'll upgrade you just for that. Which then lets you a very grey area of people that paid $100 in the first place and lost $50 for very unfortunate timing. Which I imagine must be painful and pissed off those people a lot. And Battle State had the clear solution of just very easily refunding people that money, just $50. But instead, I don't know why, they were given essentially a gift card for the game, which already is nothing, but then they made it worse by adding stipulation that made it more like nothing. Where it became like a one-time purchase thing, so anything under $50, you would have lose the other half. So if you bought something for $25, the other money would just be gone for nothing. So let me use the dumb example to prove how moronic it is. If you bought one single item for $1, the other $49 will be completely gone because... And they can do it because Escape from Tarkov isn't on Steam, it's on Battle State's own cum dump stuff shop where they have full range to do whatever they want. Thankfully, I don't think a lot of people caught this unfortunate timing, because most of the attitude from the company of having the solution right in your face, clear as daylight, and still take the more difficult path to milk the fans for all the money. And to me personally, it is fun to see how one tiny fraction of a fan base can dictate the completely other side. That doesn't spend nowhere near as much money as they do, but they can recognize the shitty treatment and scumminess of the company. Which is why in my first video I was so blown away by the Reddit community being team just tearing down the game and like half of it being divided. Well, I say half, but I actually believe it was all of them because they were willing to go against the rule of like talking about the game because even they recognized just how bad the edition was. Again, like I mentioned before, the idea of me spending that much money, around $250 for an edition of a game that's like way cheaper, just the standard edition by itself, that's insane to me already. But the idea of like being in these people's shoes, spending that much money in the first place, and then being scanned from it, that's what like makes the story so bizarre. Not to mention the very easy solution that Bassett could make that honestly, if this was the first reaction, it'd probably take me like 10 years to finally like do the right thing, honestly.